This little 240 just hits my soul different. There's something about this car that I just have a connection with. I just want a quick little intro to tell what this video is going to be about. Wrapping the 240, my main thing that I wanted to accomplish, just document the journey so that I can look back on it. But the other thing was tips from a first timer. I know that there's tons of videos out there doing vinyl wraps, and I'm definitely no professional. Like the Coupe bumper, you'll see I struggled with it. I had to do it twice. I have a couple specific details on where the inlays should go and stuff like that. My last video, if you're curious on the prep work that I did, I made a separate video, just like I did with the IS. I wanted to get it painted, but the paint budget is not happening anytime soon, so I figured I could try to vinyl wrap it, get it one color for now. That way I can just enjoy it for the time being. I want to start hitting events, taking the car out a lot more. It's just a lot more fun to look at when it's one color, right? I'm going to have a separate video on how to use knifeless tape doing the rear bumper. I had so many clips from the rear bumper that it would have made this video way too long, so I'm just going to do a separate video for that one. At the end of this video, I'm going to show the final product, just show a couple clips of the car being all done nice and fresh. I just did a photo shoot with it yesterday with a local photographer, so I'm super stoked about that. That's the first nice pictures that I've ever gotten of this car. The style that I wanted to go for with it the whole time I owned it, I finally was able to execute. But yeah, I hope you enjoy. You can watch me struggle doing the vinyl wrap. Without further ado, here we go. It almost looks like paint. It has a little bit of an orange peel to it. I'm really liking the way that it's coming out so far. I'm about to go on the hood. After you sand it, make sure to get it really nice and clean, and then alcohol the surface. So I'm gonna give the hood a shot. The wraps are 60 inches wide, and the roll that I got to 75 footers. The hood on an S13, it's just about 60 inches wide. I'm only gonna have just barely a little left over if I do it like that, so I'm gonna run it the opposite direction. That way I have more room on both sides, because from here to here is only about 50 inches, I think it was. So yeah, I'm gonna run it this direction. Let's see what we got. All right, so we just got the first panel wrapped. So here's the underside that we just showed from the little project with the stencil. So we just put the hood on the car, and it's looking really cool. It's the first time ever seeing the fresh painted engine bay with the white underside. There it is. If I could mention one thing to help somebody trying to do this for their first time, when it starts getting hard, you just have to stick with it. It wants to fight you and you're chasing bubbles around, but the more you work with it, it seems like the easier it's getting. So I'm sure I'm still gonna get into a bunch of different situations with the fenders and different curves that I haven't done yet. So still a lot of learning to do, but I would say just stick with it. And I did end up getting the hood, all the bubbles out of it and everything, and it's looking pretty solid so far. So we're gonna move on. I think I'm gonna keep doing the front end. Yeah. It'll get done eventually, but I just gotta stay at it. This is not okay. Oh, showing all the damage. Oh my god. This is really crazy. I have no clue what I'm doing. Flip it, don't flop it. I don't know. Can you tell that we're a little salty right now about this wrap job? We're gonna give you that raw, boots on the ground, in the trenches bumper wrap update for the first time wrapping your car. Now keep in mind, I'm probably doing this the wrong way. This bumper is probably going to be in about 10 different pieces. This section right here is a different piece. This is a different piece. This is a different piece. This top section is a different piece. I'm going to have to make a separate piece for right here so that it doesn't lift. Same thing all the way around the license plate. Same thing with the other side. And then right here too is gonna be a separate piece. You wanna know how it is wrapping a bumper for your first time? Better have some patience. And like I said before, you just gotta stick with it because it's going from black to white somehow. Definitely not gonna be perfect, but we're gonna keep giving it a shot. Fenders are definitely a lot easier than the bumper. The fenders went pretty smooth. Just got a nice stretch on them. Obviously did it in one piece. And yeah, it's actually moving along. So after this is done, the whole car will technically be white, but we just have to do the rest of the off-white parts that haven't been wrapped yet. But yeah, it's coming out pretty good. I just wrapped this while it was on the car. One thing to mention, it seems like everything's gonna be easier to wrap off the car so that you can get into all the cracks and everything. But if it's off the car, you don't have enough foundation to get a good stretch on it. I don't feel like that's mentioned a whole lot. We had this on the car when we put it on, and then I just took it back off the car so I can wrap all the corners and everything. It's going a lot better today than it was yesterday when we were doing the bumper. All right, 3 p.m. update. It's the next day. We're probably on day 6. I can't even remember at this point. But we got the lip done today. We got both of the little pieces for the corners right here. So the whole front end is officially white. I ended up doing 2 different pieces on the lip. These obviously did in one piece. I was able to wrap all around, do just like one relief cut right here to where they look pretty clean. Can't believe the whole front end is done already. The skirts that we got had a little crack right here, so just did a little fiberglass repair. But yeah, I will have to say the process is getting easier once you learn the limitations of the vinyl, like how much you can heat it up. Depending on what vinyl you have, it's going to be different for every brand, but yeah, I will say that it is getting easier. Might end up redoing the bumper at some point if we have enough vinyl. The big flat pieces are obviously a lot easier, and it definitely does help to have a hand. So you want to tack it down on one side, stretch it, have someone heating in the middle while you're stretching it, and that really helps. Let's see if we can get this thing done at some point. All right, so I'm gonna try to redo the bumper again and kind of show how we're doing this, just in case you're doing a Coupe bumper. I found out that the inlays should probably go right here and in these vent corners right here. So I laid the design line knifeless tape over here and then over here. There's so many different directions in here. It's just hard because the vinyl doesn't want to stretch into these cracks and everything. It's going different directions, so it just wants to, it doesn't want to adhere right here. Do a couple different pieces on these windows, and then I'm going to try to lay this top piece all in one piece once this bottom half with all the weird stuff is all done, and I'm going to see how that goes. So update shortly. All right, so take 2 on the front bumper. Definitely wanted to show where I did the inlays. So this part where it drops in right here is gonna bubble up because the vinyl doesn't want to stretch that far into here. So this piece right here, I did an inlay, and then this is just a little repair right here, but I did one right here in this crack. But yeah, just kind of figuring it out as I go. I might want to get the bumper painted at some point because this bumper, I don't know if it's like expert level or if I just don't know what I'm doing or what, but when you have this big bump for the license plate bracket right here, the vinyl just needs to go in so many different directions. So I don't know that, I don't see a lot of bumpers with this big of an indentation for the license plate. So I don't know exactly how a pro would do this. I'm gonna do it, just gonna cover it in white somehow, and however I can figure it out. All right, so back at it. We got both skirts all done. I wanted to give a couple tips on how I did the skirts. So I ended up doing 2 separate pieces on these outside flanges here. So I just did a piece right here, and then I laid the top one over it on both sides. Came out pretty good. Did that right there, did this little inlay right here. This didn't want to stretch in, you can actually kind of see on the other one. I tried to do it in one piece and it started to bubble right here. I did alcohol, Scotch-Brite pad it and all that stuff, but I don't have any adhesion promoter. I need to put a little piece right here too, or maybe redo this and put an inlay. And again, huge help. What happened when I was doing this, I tried to do one on the stand and there's just not enough foundation to get a good stretch on it. So I actually put it on the car and then stretched it with it attached to the car, pulled it off, and then wrapped all the corners and everything. So I was able to wrap around here. Man, this thing is really starting to come together. I wanted to tell really quick how I did this big side piece. I ended up doing the door and the quarter panel in one piece. So I just measured from here down around the bottom. It seemed like it worked out pretty good. They have these little magnets where you can lay your piece on the side, put the magnets down so that you can hold it. You can trim your excess off before or after. If you have the whole 60-inch roll laid on the side all the way down, you can kind of mark where you're gonna need to trim it after you get the whole piece on, or you can trim it before if you're comfortable with where it's at. I just tacked it down on one side, pull it from here, take the whole piece, and then get it straight. And now, as long as you get one, they call it glassing the panel, as long as you get one clean line all the way down the middle, you can work up from there and you can work down from there. That's what I did, and it worked out really good. I just got a little bit of heat in this body line to make sure that the body line sticks really nice. Truthfully, the biggest part here that I've done, the door and the quarter all in one piece, was actually the easiest part yet. If you're doing this in one piece, when you get to this door line, you just run the cut right down the middle and then you heat it up. If you hold it at different angles each time, then go a little bit farther, then a little bit farther, you won't get any of those wrinkles in here and it will lay nice and flat. That's how I ended up doing that. And same thing here on the outside of the door. You want to get your thumb going down this way and then go at a little bit more of an angle and then a little bit more depending on the curve and everything. But yeah, seemed to work out really nice. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm gonna do the C pillar. I don't want to do the roof and the A and C pillar all in one piece because this whole entire window would be waste. Obviously, if you have one piece, you're gonna have to cut all this out. So I'm gonna do the pillars separate. So this line right here, I just laid this piece of knifeless tape over, like just barely over the top of the line. I don't know if you can see that. Where the red is at is gonna be where it's gonna actually cut it. I'm not gonna try to butt it up to it perfectly. I'm gonna overlap it just a little bit just to be safe. You can get really intricate with it and try to butt it up exactly to it, but I'm not exactly sure the best way to do that without you know, accidentally having a gap in between. So I'm just gonna do a really light overlap on it. And so I'm gonna do it from here. I'm just gonna do this section and I'm gonna do another piece of knifeless tape right here. And then obviously I'll do the roof in one piece, and then I'll do the same thing with this A pillar here. I'm gonna start wrapping the rear bumper. There's gonna need to be an inlay, which is a separate piece of vinyl inside of here. I'm gonna try to do that with knifeless tape. All right, it's the next day, but I did end up getting the rear bumper done. I ended up doing, I don't know if you can even see that. Oh yeah, you can see it. I ended up getting bunched up right here in the corner because I didn't want to make this corner and go down at the same time. So I ended up doing a fill piece right there, which kind of hard to see, it's underneath. And then same thing on this side. I ended up having to do a separate piece in this corner because when I went to stretch it into the corner right here, it got really bunched up. Ended up getting it done, doesn't look too bad, and just did the seam right here and then down. So still looks cool. I'm about to start getting going on the roof. I just got it all laid out, so I'm gonna get going on that. And then pretty much after this, all I have to do is the door handles, the gas door, got the two wings for the window and for the trunks. Eventually, I'm gonna get to assemble everything, and then the grand finale of seeing it all in one piece, and looking forward to it. Got the roof done yesterday. I did the seam right here on the front, and I did the seam right here for the back. Main thing is with the roof, I know I didn't show like a whole time lapse of me doing it. When you throw the vinyl down on here, after it's all cleaned up and stuff, just tack it down on one side and then stretch it to the opposite side. Once I got a good flat section in the middle, since this whole thing is curved, I took the squeegee and just got one line going down, and then I did it a quarter at a time. So I just got one clean line to work off of here and here, and then I worked this way. There might be different ways to do it. That's just the way that I did it, and it turned out really good. And then for all of the edges all around, I just heated up, ran my thumb across here, and then tucked it into window trim here, which ended up turning out really solid. Some of the window trim is starting to kind of break away, getting brittle, but pretty solid. Same thing for the side here. I needed to leave some extra because this side trim piece on the 240s, it kind of sits like an 1/8 inch away from the door. So I tucked it in here before I cut it, and then I ran the razor down as far as I could to get it to lay in there so that you can't see the old color behind it. I went right up to this edge on these C-pillars. Looks good. You can kind of tuck it a little bit, but if not, you can just go right up to the edge. Make sure you heat it up when you're doing that. Same thing for the rear. I spent some time assembling stuff yesterday too. I got the door handles in. I ended up wrapping the door handles. Yeah, I just laid one flat piece over the top there, and then obviously did a cut here, cut it in right here, and then just heat this section up and just push it in. So I just pushed the corners in. It's pretty nice, wrapped it around, kept a little trim on it and everything. So that's with the rear, all nice and complete. The side's all done. These window trims came out pretty solid too. These just, there's one screw in the back on these window trims. There's one screw right here that I actually didn't put back in. I still have to put it in, but once you get this screw out, these literally they just pop up. You just pull them up from right here, loosen them up. You can slide them back and forth to loosen them up a little bit. It will bend, so if it doesn't, don't tug on it too hard so that you don't bend it, but there is just little clips holding it in. But yeah, we're just about getting to the end here to where I can assemble the front end and everything. Man, pretty soon I'm gonna see this thing all one color for the first time. So here's the latest. I got the skirts and the fenders mocked up to kind of see what it's gonna look like when it's all done. And I'm just, can't believe it's even mine. Man, this thing's gonna look so cool. I'm working on, I have the D-Max wing and then I have the Origin style glass wing. So I'm gonna get the glass wing wrapped right now. The main thing that I'm doing on these to wrap them is one main piece on the top here, and then I'm doing a knifeless tape line right here to where I can roll this top one over and then do an overlay on the underside to make this corner and then this corner at the same time. It would kind of get bunched up right here, which is probably possible, but I just feel more comfortable doing it with the knifeless tape from where I'm at in the skill level or whatever. So I think it's still gonna turn out clean. Trunk wing came out really nice and level. Yeah, I just did a design line underneath it right there. Can't even see it. Looking super clean. I've had these wings for the glass and for the trunk for so long, and they've been just sitting around. I've been wanting to put them on so bad. I've actually never had a coupe with a wing on it, and I just really like the way this one looks. I know it's super common, but just gives it a really nice look, changes the whole rear of the car. It's kind of weird mounting these. What I used to mount it was this super strength molding tape. This stuff is like really sticky. Yeah, I did one piece of tape on the top right here and then one piece of tape on this underside. And I mean, it is not going anywhere. Like if I ever need to take it off, like it's probably gonna be an issue. I'd probably pull the wrap off with it, maybe bend the trunk. Yeah, that stuff worked out really nice. I'm gonna use that on the glass too, obviously. Yeah, that's where we're at. I got the rear valances ordered up. I'm doing like a Bomex style one on these, so I'm looking forward to seeing those on the car too. It's almost there, just gotta keep going. I still don't know if I like it more than paint. Maybe it's just because it doesn't look as perfect as paint, but it was within the budget. It got the car all one color and the car looks awesome. I can't be too mad at it. It's been a long time coming to get the car to this stage. Just did a little road trip out of town a little bit just to get some good clips of it, get a little backdrop going and everything. So here it is. I'm really excited to show this to you guys. A couple of the parts that I ended up getting towards the end here was rear valances. I couldn't find a type that I really wanted. I knew I wanted the G Corp skirts on this, so I ended up getting those right at the end. So shout out to my buddy Ray in Vegas for hooking me up with those. It says there's not a ton of rear valances that match those. So I did end up finding these ones. They were on eBay. Got the urethane Dorky Dory front lip on there. It's custom license plate with one of my new designs that I did. And man, it just really came together right at the end. I was able to put all the pieces that I've been sitting around on, kind of put it all together and get to see the final product. Moving forward from here, now that it's all in one piece, kind of enjoy it more, take it out. I want to get this thing back out there. I want to try to hit up AVS, Willow, a couple things that I need to do first. I need to put an oil cooler on it. I got some oil pressure, oil temperature sensors on the way, so I'm going to wire those into the Link ECU. Man, with it looking sick, it's running good. Still need a full tune, but just come a long way. So thank you for staying in touch with the journey with this thing. Appreciate everybody watching, and we'll see you for the next one.